Bienvenue and welcome. My name is Eda Holmes and I'm the Artistic and Executive Director at Centaur Theatre. I'm standing on the set designed by James Lavoie for the incredible production of Mob, directed by Andrew Shaver and written by Catherine Anne Toupin, which was the last show that was on stage before the pandemic forced us to shut the doors to keep the audience, artists, and staff safe from COVID-19. But we're not here to revisit that dark Friday the 13th in March. No, we are here to celebrate all of you who in the good times and now in these not so good times have supported the theater. Whether you are a longtime member of the Director Circle or a brand new donor who was inspired by our The Show Must Go On campaign, we want to thank you for your generosity because it is essential to Centaur. Now, this is our very first ever online thank you event, and I'm so happy that I am going to be joined by our longtime board member and the chair of the the Director's Circle campaign, and it's Dr. Anthony Saharan. I wish there was like an applause thing where we could go, and here he is.
Thank you all for joining us today. Centaur is here to entertain you, but most of all, to thank you for all the support you've been giving us for years and years and years. And I know it sounds like a refrain that I say each year. I'm always amazed at how wonderful your support is for Centaur. Every year we reach our goal, and we reached our goal again this year. And on top of that, with the COVID, we had to cancel a whole bunch of shows. And I don't know if you know, but we've lost about $200,000 in ticket sales. But you all guys came through by donating tickets and giving donations. And we recouped almost half of it at $100,000. So I wanted to thank each of you once again for all the support for all the many, many years, and particularly for the support you've been giving us this year. The campaign still has another week to go. So if you know anybody else that really would like to help support Centaur, the more the merrier, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. That's great to hear. It's wonderful that the generosity of people is fantastic. And every year we do a thank you event, don't we, for our donors. And usually it's here in the theater. Last year, we had a little presentation about how to learn how to make Genovese pesto, to talk about the Italian setting of the very first show of the season, which was Alice in the World We Live In, a beautiful production of Alex Haber's play, and was starring the wonderful actors Jane Wheeler and Danny Brochu. And but this year, we thought it was, since we're gonna be virtual, let's have a virtual cocktail party. So, thinking about a virtual cocktail party and celebrating all the generosity that you've all given us, I immediately think, when I think about celebration, I think about bubbles, right?
Sounds good.
But it's the height of the summer. I mean, it's really the summer in here. It's extremely hot in here. And so in the height of the summer, I wanted to combine it with something that would celebrate the fact that in the time of COVID, we had this glorious summer where we could be outside all the time. So I came up with the idea of having the cocktail for this evening be the Bellini. Now, the Bellini. Have you ever had a Bellini?
I've had a Bellini. I've been to Venice where Bellini started, but I don't think I've ever been to the bar. I'll have to check with my wife Hera, because she's our planner and stuff. But the Bellini is a delicious summer drink, so that was a great choice.
Oh, good. Well, in that case, I have right here a bottle of prosecco for you to open for us. So you all got sent the cocktail recipe of the Bellini. And I just want to give you a little bit of a background about it. It was created by Giuseppe Cipriani at the Harry's Bar in Venice in the 30s, but it was inspired by the color, I love this, it was inspired by the color of the robe of a violin player at the feet of the Madonna in a painting called Sacra Conversazione by Giovanni Bellini, of course, the 15th century painter. So we are going to make that now. And if you've got your ingredients, I've always wanted to have a cooking show. So this is my dream come true. We're going to start. So we've chilled the glasses, these champagne flutes. And I have a little bit of, I'm going to put in one part of, woo! It's either, it's either peach nectar, or in this case, it's actually peach puree that I made from fresh white peaches that I got at the market. So here we go, a little bit in each glass. And then to achieve that gorgeous pink color, you add either, in the recipe we said strawberry, but I had some raspberry coulis left over from a dessert. So here we go. I'm just gonna add a tiny, ooh, it's so cold there. That should get us to the right place. There we go. Yes, there we are. Now comes the really special part. You have to pour the champagne slowly or you'll end up at Vesuvius instead of in Venice. So I'm just going to very carefully, little by little. All good things take time. And I'm hoping that when we get there, we will have achieved, oh, it's almost there, that gorgeous pink.
And the anticipation.
I know. It feels like we should have music. I asked Howard, our production manager, to play the theme from Godfather, but he wouldn't do it. There we go. I think that looks fantastic. So I will pour this other one. So as we prepared, Anthony, can you think, when I get this ready, I want to ask you to make a toast, because I think we want to toast the generosity of everybody who's been helping us over the years, but especially this year, because it's been a pretty bumpy ride, I would say. Here we are. Okay, I think that'll do it. Almost got it. So here we go.
Thank you very much, Eda, for your stewardship over the past couple of years. It's been a very, very difficult year with COVID. But also thank all of you, because you're our supporters and we're here for you and you've been there for us. So I'd like to toast each and every one of you for all your support for this year and for many, many more years to come.
Yes.
Thank you.
Santé.
Cheers.
Oh, that's really nice.
It is good.
It's really, really good.
Dangerously good on a hot day like today.
I know, it's perfect. Now, we can make a cocktail together, but you can't really have a good cocktail party without a little bit of cocktail music. And we're really fortunate to be joined this evening by, thanks to technology and the miracle of the internet, we're joined this evening by this wonderful music director, talented and gifted pianist, Chris Barillero, who is in his piano studio in Pointe Saint Charles. And Chris, are you there?
Hi, Eda.
Hi. Oh, I worked. I'm so happy.
I love your cooking show. I want this to be a thing.
Okay, well, I think I have some time. No. So Chris, you are going to play for us tonight. What are you going to play first?
Well, it's a bit of a mystery, the first one, but I will say it is connected to Centaur. So there's some of you out there who may have actually seen this piece and may have an idea what it is. But for now, I'm going to keep it a mystery and just say it has something to do with Centaur.
I love a mystery.
Great. All right. Well, here, I'm just going to swap cameras so you can see from above, and I'll get playing.
Very nice.
Wow, that was fantastic. More applause.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh my God. I wonder if anyone's guessed. I think Anthony might have guessed, but I'm not going to let him say yet. So Chris, you have an amazing resume performing with both the French community and the English community, but you started with us at Centaur with Schwartz's, the musical. Is that right?
I did indeed.
Oh, fantastic. And I think if any of you might remember, he was at the piano, but he was also the eponymous mustard bottle in that show, which I think I hope you put that on your resume.
I love it. Yes. There was actually a period for a while after the show where I'd go to see a show in town or something, and I'd have people lean over and go, "Were you the mustard?"
That's fantastic. So now clear up the mystery. What was the music you just played from?
That was, it's probably going to be backwards, but I'll show it anyway. That's Last Night at the Gaiety by George Bowser and Rick Blue, which was at Centaur in 2015. And the piece is called Prelude to Last Night at the Gaiety, and then the entr'acte, which is the one I did with with the band.
Fantastic. I did almost start stripping. It was such a great song. Well, now I know you've been playing sets from your beautiful studio in your house on the internet over the course of COVID a few times, and I know you occasionally actually take some requests.
Yes.
So I have a little request for you.
All right.
Chris, will you play Misty for me?
Sure. I love Misty. Piece by Errol Garner. It's absolutely beautiful. I'd be happy to, Eda.
Oh, thank you. Might need more champagne.
Oh, Eda, I think you're muted.
Oh,
Now
am
you're
I
unmuted.
muted?
You're good.
Oh, good. Okay. Welcome to Zoom.
I feel like that's all I do on Zoom.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, no, we all do. We've become experts in it. That was absolutely so beautiful. And Anthony and I were just saying how it felt like we were transported into a time where we could all be in a room together, which was just glorious.
I'm so glad. That's great to hear.
I think we're going to do one more, and I think it's dealer's choice. So
Okay.
I'm going to just turn it over to you, and I want you to surprise us.
All right. I will try my best. I think this will indeed be a surprise. All right, here we go.
Oh, Christmas in August.
That's it.
That's fantastic. I think you picked that because you actually spent a little bit of Christmas time in July, didn't you?
Indeed.
Yes, because we were workshopping actually a show that was going to be part of this season, a new play by Marcus Youssef called The Christmas-ish Unicorn, and it has a whole music component to it. And so I think you and, well, I know because we were all together, you, Mike Payette, and Marcus Youssef, the playwright, all got together because the show actually has music threaded all the way through it. And we were going to work on it to prepare it for the season. It's actually a family show that it was our first kind of go at making a show for the whole family at Christmas time. So can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing with Mike and Marcus, and also Emma Tebaldo from Playwrights Workshop Montreal, and a little bit about the show?
Sure. It's such a beautiful piece. I mean, the short version of the story is it's the story of a Jewish grandmother who discovers at the gates of heaven that she can't get in until she takes care of her unfinished business with her family on earth. And throughout, I mean, it's such a magical piece, and there's a lot of really neat things and some fantastical things as well. And the music is by Sufjan Stevens. And
I love his music.
Oh, me too. Beautiful stuff. And he has 2 Christmas albums. So we've actually integrated, or I shouldn't say we, Marcus has integrated Sufjan's Christmas music into the piece. And excuse me, our job this summer was to figure out how to tell the story best with the music that we have available to us. And in the past, I think the songs were sort of inserted as chunks. So like you'd get to a point in the show and then you would just sing a song. And our task this summer was to find a way to integrate that music into the storytelling so that, deciding who's singing what, for how long, why they're singing it, what that does to the scene. And we came up with some really interesting things, and, discovering that maybe certain Sufjan pieces or phrases in his music attached to specific items in the show, props or things that are important, or themes that are attached to particular characters as well.
Right.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was a very we all discovered a lot in those 3 days.
Yeah, he's a pop folk icon in the States, isn't he?
Yes.
So how did you start though? What was the first thing you did?
First thing we did was Mike and I, right. At the very beginning of the workshop, we actually had a great group of actors in to help let us hear the story. Instead of just reading it on the page, we had some fantastic actors in on Zoom to read through the script.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder, so who was in it?
Well.
Ellen? What are you doing there?
I'm just listening to Christmas music and wearing my scarf over my face.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Chris.
Have fun, you two. Thanks for having me, Eda. Take care.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I didn't know. How did you get in?
Santa sleigh and all that.
Well, welcome. You were in that workshop, weren't you?
I was in that workshop.
You were playing Alma, right?
No, Alma was from the Shoplifters that I
Right.
did here. Yeah, that's Morris Panish's play. The character in the Christmas show is Esther.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
And I will happily admit that you are decades too young to play a grandmother, but we love having you at Centaur. You are, I had prepared, I'm going to do my actual prepared intro for you, because even though I'm pretending like you weren't here, we all know you were coming. So star of stage and screen, and regular director and actor here at Centaur Theatre, and now the newly appointed artistic director at Blackmore Theatre. It is a pleasure and honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you. It is a privilege to be here, just sitting in the audience and listening to the two of you and listening to Chris's music. I had the feeling, I got all verklempt because I thought I was in the theater again. It's so moving.
Yeah.
And you realize how much you miss that live experience. There's nothing like it. And it's just so beautiful and powerful. So thank you for having me be a part of it.
Can I make you a cocktail?
Wow. Is that a Bellini? You're just happy to see me. Let's. I thought you were actually going to start, doing the high kicks and that. I think we can, take it up a notch.
Oh, really?
I have a cocktail. That
You do?
I like to make. Yeah.
We didn't send out this.
I'm not prepared at all. She said, coming to the bar with everything she needs. Yes, there's a cocktail that I discovered in Los Angeles at one point some years ago. I was with a friend and we went to a restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, Cole's. They're well known for their honey dip sandwiches.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to show you this. We're going to take you on a little, surprise journey. So we go through the dining room, through the kitchen, down the back stairs, and arrive in a bar, which was a speakeasy. It felt like you were going back in time to the 30s, and it was just fantastic, very dark. And they didn't have bartenders, they had mixologists. And one of the mixologists asked me what flavors I like. And I said, I love lemon. When I was a kid, I used to eat lemons as if they were oranges. I love lemon, I love Cointreau, I love gin. And she said, I have just the cocktail for you. And that was the Corpse Reviver #2.
The perfect cocktail for a pandemic.
Totally. Not #1, which is a whole different flavor profile, but #2, which has all those ingredients and a few others. So I'm just going to read you a little bit about it because it's got such an incredible, here you can see the Corpse Reviver I have many cocktail books, but this one is the architecture of cocktail. And it's a pretty complex.
This is a little note. And in addition to being an actor, director, and everything else, Ellen is also a brilliant bartender.
Yes. Baker, bread maker during the COVID. So this cocktail goes back as far as the 1860s in London. And an American named Harry Craddock went over to London and became the bartender at the Savoy in the American bar. And so he brought that with him. And that was one of the earlier days of this. And there's a little humor in it. And send 4 of these taken in quick succession will unrevive the corpse again. So,
well, you're only allowed 1.
Yes, okay. But it's pretty strong. So I'm going to make it. I'm going to just duck down behind the bar here.
Yes, we've, I should say that while she's doing that, this bar, well, the set is from Mob. The bar is actually from Successions, our wonderfully successful show of a couple of years ago by Michaela Di Cesare. You might recognize it was over there when it was done, that show.
So I have fancy cocktail shakers, but I find the thing that works best is a mason jar and this little top that I got at Winners, because it just sometimes with the metal ones, it sticks and you can never get it out. But I just find this works wonderfully.
You really are serious. You're very serious.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. Yeah, I'm a little hot now because there's no air conditioning. So keep those dollars coming in because it's very hot.
Yes, we need donations just to turn on the air conditioner.
All right. The ice is melted a little bit, but I just want to put enough in so that it kisses the liquor.
Fantastic.
Okay. And I will I'm making 2 for each of us.
Yes.
So I'm going to put in 1 shot. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces, a full shot, because I think you deserve it, Eda. So do I. 1 for you.
It is my favorite gin.
Me.
I love that gin.
Of gin. And then I'm going to add some Cointreau, which is one of my favorite liqueurs.
That is fancy.
This
is a fancy cocktail.
This is a fancy cocktail. It's a strong cocktail.
But Cointreau has that beautiful orangey thing, right?
That's what's lovely about this. It blends the orange and the lemon.
Okay. We really are going to start a cooking show.
That's great. I love it. My dream. Now, the recipe originally called for coche americano, but sometimes that's not available. So there was Lillet Blonde, but now we have Lillet Blanc.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll add that. Now, sometimes you can also put 1 ounce. I'm using 1.5 because that's the size of my little pour measure.
Well, you know why I think the reason there's no coche in town is because there's a strike in the port.
Right.
So
I stock up when I'm in the States. Which I haven't been.
Nice.
I haven't been in a while. Okay, and then we're going to do 1 shot of fresh lemon juice. So I forgot my lemons at home, and Centaur had this fake lemon juice, but I decided that I needed real lemon. So Eloi, communications and marketing director, went out and got me some fresh lemon. And I brought my little device here.
You are brilliant. My God, you really have everything.
Yes. There's no appetizers. I thought there'd be some gravlax and caviar.
I'm sorry, I was worried with COVID about touching things. I didn't know.
All right, so I'm going to put a little less lemon because sometimes people feel it's a bit. So maybe like 1.5 of these, maybe 2 ounces. I'll put that back. And then it calls for a dash of absinthe.
Ooh.
Now, what I do, I have a little atomizer often. I wear this. This is my cologne. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to use just a 1/4 teaspoon for each serving of the absinthe because I would mist the inside of the glass.
That is, I'm just going to say that's so sexy
Okay.
to have an absinthe misted
Yes,
glass.
absinthe misted. Play misty for me.
Yes.
That's what made me think of
that's
it.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So just a bit. Absinthe is quite.
Ooh, yes, it's quite
Power.
it's a powerful intoxicant, isn't it?
Okay. And now the ice is a little more melted than I would have.
But we are in the Sahara Desert right now, so.
You shake it up. This is the most exercise I've gotten during COVID-19. Making cocktails.
Fantastic.
And then we have our glasses, which were a little chilled, a little damp.
Lovely.
I'm going to pour, I usually use a coupe glass. This is more of a bit of a, I'm sorry. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to get rid of the ice. One moment, please. Put this back.
That's your fancy thing. That's what
That's
it's
my
for.
fancy thing. Now I can just strain.
Oh, I see. Nice.
And I don't get the,
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
gorgeous. Yes, and refreshing, lovely. And lemon.
Oh, yeah.
And for the garnish, I'm going to use a knife so I don't touch them. I made a little, get it up here.
It's crazy what you have to do for COVID, right?
Little C for
Oh,
Centaur.
I love that. I'm so glad it's not a C for COVID.
Let's turn that C around to the Centaur C, shall we?
Yes.
It's about time.
I love that.
Get back
Oh,
to
I
the
think
center.
we may have to start having those in the bar. I think that may be the drink when we come back in town.
Let's flip it over.
Oh, gorgeous. Wow.
Beautiful.
If we had a really television studio, you could like zoom in and see this from the top.
Yes.
It's absolutely
Can
beautiful.
you see it? I don't know which camera's on.
But yes, it's absolutely beautiful. Okay.
Bellini away.
You know what? Since I still have all these pages that I have to cover, I don't
Okay.
think I should start with that at this point. But I do believe our friend Anthony, who's still here, I think I'm going to pass that along to you. There you go. I think
Thank you
you're
very
going to
much.
love that. It's way more
Cheers.
serious.
Cheers, Anthony. May I propose a toast to
Yes.
the late Gordon Maston, who
Oh,
was in
yes.
Schwartz's The Musical as the Pickle, and who was also in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof that I did with him many, many years ago. I just directed a show for Moment Factory out in the Eastern Townships, and that was the last thing that Gord came to see because some of his students were in it. So
Oh,
I just would like to raise a glass and to celebrate the wonderful and gone too soon Gordon Maston.
yes. He will be deeply missed.
Anthony, what do you think?
Delicious. Dangerously delicious, too.
So what have you been up now? So in COVID, for actors, this has been a crazy, I mean, for directors and actors, everybody, but for actors in particular, it's been a crazy time.
Yes.
What have you been up to?
Well, as the artistic director of Theatre Like Rome, I've been back and forth from there trying to figure out what we do, what our season is going to look like. We've canceled most of everything. It's a year-round theater now, so we were unable, of course, to carry on with a lot of our shows, and we had a big, big season planned.
Right.
This last weekend would have been the closing of our second big English language production. So I'm trying to put some of those into next season, trying to keep the doors open. I've started publishing a newsletter that is taking a
on
positive
it.
spin and telling people what might have been, what they can look forward to. We have rescheduled our opening gala, which was featuring Martha Wainwright from
Wow.
this year. We have a date for next year, so fingers crossed that we can make that happen. And I was supposed to direct a show at the Seagull Siberian Summer. And we had a workshop, we had a Zoom online workshop of that. And hopefully that will come back at some point.
We'll have to talk so that it doesn't overlap with your premiere as Esther
Yes.
in the Christmas
Yes,
issue.
we'll juggle it, you know. So, and then I'm going to be doing a play for Infinite Theatre coming up called King of Canada, Paul Van Dyke's new play. Paul also wrote Siberian Summer. That's a two-hander with Brian Dooley and myself.
Oh, I love Brian.
Yes, and it's a kind of political satire about William Lyon Mackenzie King. sort of a trial and a seance, and Brian plays Mackenzie King and I play 35 other people, including animals. But it's quite exciting. We're going to have 20 people only in the audience per show. Everyone's safe, socially distanced, and that will open October 21st and run till November 1st. And I know, speaking of Christmas, I ended up there's a Christmas film that came to Knowlton where I work, called Christmas Ever After, so I'll be doing a role in that, which is fun too. So
fantastic.
I'll be keeping busy, and like I said, baking and, cooking. And at one point I just said, got to get out of the kitchen because, COVID-19 means 19 pounds.
And I follow you on Instagram.
Oh, well, Facebook.
Right, Facebook.
It was on First Eda. Alma, Instagram.
I know, I can't keep it straight. It's lovely of you to drop by. I appreciate it, and joining us in the Sahara Desert. So
it's that's why I'm glowing. But I'm losing those pounds. I'm down to COVID-18 now. It's a thrill and an honor, and I just applaud everything you're doing and the upcoming series on the portico. And
this is it.
Keeping at it. It's just
got to keep going.
It's tough, but I think those of us who prepare and are ready and try to imagine what it will be like, we'll get there. So,
we will get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to actually be inside the theater.
Yes, and I wish, again, if we had the applause track, we would do like this for you, and hang around, because once I'm finished talking, I will definitely take a corpse raiser.
Okay, definitely. Good. I'm glad there's some left.
As you can see, we have all been busy with. Now, I just want to ask really quickly, my wonderful team, where should I look? Right here. Fantastic. We've all been really busy with figuring out how to chart a path to the future. And in addition to the shutdown of absolutely everything, this summer also brought a collective reckoning with the endemic racism in our society. Culture is not immune to that reckoning and that problem. And so we decided to think about what theater's role could be in taking on the challenge. We've created a new initiative, which we're calling the Artistic Diversity Discussion at Centaur, or AD Centaur. And we've put a certain little part of our budget towards it. And what we're going to do is look at theater and its role in the community and in society, and see how we can become a part of the future and be an agent of change. It's really important that we not just lay back and think, well, we're okay. We've always been open. We've always been nice. No, we need to bring people in who can help us find our blind spots and start a conversation. And to do that, I've assembled a panel of amazing Montreal artists and activists who are going to join me and help us reveal our blind spots, and then find a way to make Centaur sincerely an agent of change in the cultural landscape of Montreal. And so I think we have some images for you, and I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can tell you who they are. We're going to start with Charles Bender. He's a writer and actor featured on several APTN and Radio Canada shows like Mohawk Girls, Sans Réserve, and Huitième Feu. He's also the co-founder of the Montreal Francophone Indigenous Theatre Company, Menuentakuan, which is invested in creating new paths of dialogue among Aboriginals and non-Aboriginals in Canada. He's translated several English-Canadian Indigenous plays into French, including the NAC Indigenous Theatre AD's Kevin Loring's play, Where the Blood Mixes, which was a beautiful production a couple of years ago here in Montreal. And at Centaur, he played Patrick in Roy Surrette's beautiful production of François Archambault's haunting play, You Will Remember Me. Next is Patrick Lloyd Brennan. Patrick has a BFA in contemporary dance from Concordia University and has been an active member of the Montreal performing arts community for over 10 years as a performer and creator. His extensive experiences as a cultural worker and arts administrator include Just for Laughs, Les Grands Ballets Canadiens, Canadian Centaur Theatre Company, and the Segal Centre for the Performing Arts, and Quebec Drama Federation, where he is currently the managing director. He's been invited multiple times to represent the Montreal arts community at many local and national forums, including the Department of Canadian Heritage Official Languages Consultations, Pride Canada's National Conference on LGBTQ Issues, and the Youth Employment Strategy Yes Montreal panel. Next, we have someone I am absolutely just so inspired by, the incredible Renee Lee. She's a musician, songwriter, and Juno award-winning jazz vocalist. She's a member of the Order of Canada and has traveled internationally recording and performing with some of the luminaries of the jazz world. Renee is also recognized by several awards for her over 20 years as a leading member of the faculty at the McGill Schulich School of Music. I should have practiced that, where she was instrumental in the development of the McGill Jazz program. She is a wonderful actor as well and was part of the brilliant cast of Lynn Nottage's Intimate Apparel here at Centaur in 2020. Following that, we are lucky to get Julie Tamiko Manning, an award-winning actor and theater creator. Julie has graced the stages at Centaur many times, including most recently her deliciously evil performance as Sin in last year's production of Paradise Lost, as well as part of the 50th anniversary season in her riveting documentary theater piece inspired by her family history in the Japanese internment camps in Canada called The Tashme Project, which went across Canada after it was here. She is also a proud mentor at the Black Theatre Workshop Mentorship Program known as AMP, and is with Imago Theatre's Artista program focused on emerging female theater artists. And finally, we have invited someone I'm really excited to have on board, Jean-Cyle Bruyère, a lawyer, jurist, and community organizer. He is a biracial Filipinx Muslim French Canadian and serves as the Director of Policy and Communication at the Philanthropic Foundation of Canada, where he advocates for marginalized communities with the federal government. Though not a performer, he brings a fresh set of eyes and immense experience with shaping policy to support diverse communities to our Add Centaur initiative. So we will have our first meeting on the 21st of September, and we'll use that meeting to generate the jumping off point for the relaunch of our Saturday Salon series online. And we'll bring that conversation about where Centaur sits in the cultural landscape of Montreal and how we can be an agent of change to you, the audience, through the Saturday Salons. So I hope you'll join us for that, because I think this moment of enforced hiatus is a great opportunity to look at how the future can be different from the past. I'm very proud that we're able to start this up this year. So as a donor, all of you here today, you knew to be here because you were so generous with us. And so there are perks. And while we can't do the perks that we would normally do by bringing you into the building, we can at least give you a sneak peek on some of the things that are coming up. And so the sneak peek for today is actually, I'm going to tell you about the Portico Project. The Portico Project is the way we're going to launch our season. While we can't open the doors on the inside, we're going to turn the theater inside out, and we've created a series of performances that are going to take place on the steps of our building. So I'm so excited for that, because we had the chance over the summer to create a call for submissions, and the call for submissions included the notion of unpacking the moment. And we sent it out to the artists in the community, said, you can do whatever you want for 10 to 20 minutes, make a proposal. I gathered a jury of incredible artists, the designer E.O. Sharp. Yes, that's right. Did I get her? It's E.O. Sharp. I suddenly went, is E.O.'s last name Sharp? It is E.O. Sharp. And that's what happens when you start to sweat and sort of lose it in the heat. The wonderful artist and designer Nalo Soyini Bruce, and also Julie Tamiko Manning, to help me choose the plays that we were going to put on the Portico. We got over 80 submissions from the community, and they were incredible. It was such a high quality of work. It was really difficult to boil it down to just the 6 shows that we could afford to present. But it is a great mix. It's a great lineup. And I think we have some images that we can show you to tell you about them. The first up is the irrepressible Sarah Siegel-Lazar and her eccentric musical, In Memoriam, which was a big hit at the Fringe a couple of years ago. And what's cool she's done is she's brought together artists that live together so they can rehearse together at home without the usual masks and distancing, because they've already lived together, which I thought was really clever. The Rising Star, the next one up is The Rising Star, Sophie El Assad, and her poetic exploration of Muslim identity called Black Balloon. And Sophie was identified by Jim Burke at the Gazette as an artist to watch in 2020. So here's your chance to come and see what she's up to. Next is the ubiquitous and inspiring Amy Blackmore, Artistic Director of Mainline Theatre and the Montreal Fringe, and she's going to explore through dance her life in the healthcare system in Is There Anything Else I Can Do For You? Which I think is so exciting. It's great to be able to support Amy because she has supported literally everybody in this town. Next, we have the talented and entertaining clown duo Joe DePaul and Tim Tyler, who are going to bring a breath of joy and delight in the form of a 1940s vaudeville show. And you can also catch them at the Clown Festival, which will be from October 1st to the 4th. Don't forget, they're going to be all over town. And they are par excellence the clowns of Montreal, for sure. Next, we have the performance artist and brilliant LGBTQ comedian Dana McLeod, who's going to join us with her COVID versus Menopause, a comic odyssey through the combination of middle age and the pandemic. And that one I'm very much looking forward to. And finally, Mary Lynn Cherry, the exceptional actress and theater creator, brings us Fanam Rebel to life. And she's working with her collaborators at Collectif Théâtral Potomitan, explores the forgotten female heroines of Haitian culture. So it's from September 24th to October 4th, and I'll have more information for you in just a second, because there's one other thing we're going to do. We are also welcoming the exciting new theater project called The Red Phone from Vancouver's celebrated Boca del Lupo Theater Company. This is an opportunity for the audience to become the stars of the show, as you are invited to enter the telephone booth and take part in a short play written by some of the most exciting writers from across Canada, including two from Montreal, Omari Newton and Alice Aberson. In fact, those two plays will be available in both French and English. And the way it works is you go in to the phone booth, and then a teleprompter comes up and you just start saying what it says, or you hear someone talking to you on the phone and you end up in a play. So I think it's a really smart, they created it before COVID even started, and I'm really excited to welcome it here. It's traveling across the country, and it's a great initiative. So there's lots of other surprises that are going to be there. I just want to really emphasize that it's a chance for us to be live again together in a very safe way, and in a way that celebrates the brilliant diversity and talent in this city. So we haven't even put out the press release yet, so you're hearing about it first. And all the information will be up on the website as of September 1st. So don't hesitate, check it out, and come down and join us for the show. So we're at that point now. I think we've almost reached the entire consumption of air in this room. When the theater's closed, it becomes another thing. It's a theater is made for people to be in it. And when they aren't in it, it loses its mind. And that's where we're at right now. But I do want to thank you all for joining us today. And I really want to acknowledge the fact that this event could not have happened even a little bit without the brilliant team here at Centaur. And so I'm going to just tell you who they are. Our production manager, Howard Mendelson, although I'm still mad he wouldn't play got the theme from Godfather for me. Our stage manager, Luciana Burkari. Our digital media manager, Vanessa Rigo. Our sound and video coordinator, Peter Chironi. Our house tech, Ellie Thomason. I wish we could just be like cutting two, but we can't. Our wonderful camera techs, however, Matilda Chironi and Xinling Lo. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing, and you've jumped right in. Our brilliant development department, Halima Mini and Jennifer Bisson, who got some extra support from our communications and marketing manager, Eloi Sevois. And thank you to Ellen, David, and Anthony Saharan for braving the pandemic to come down and join us, and braving the heat as well. It's just so great to be in the room together with you again. And ultimately, thank you to all of you, because really theater is only possible when everybody believes in it and believes that it matters and believes that we have to get together to make it happen. It's especially true right now in this pandemic, and your generosity and support and ongoing commitment to Centaur means the world to us. So thank you so, so much for everything you've done for us. And now if Howard was here with his guitar, he could play me off, but I think we're kind of there. I'm just going to pour myself a little more champagne and get Ellen back up to make me a corpse raiser too. Thanks so much. See you soon at the Portico Project. Come on, Alan.
Small hand over. Yeah, very good.